Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to RC Conspiracies. We will be live with you in about 2 minutes. We'll put in the description below the time code of where it starts. Usually you can just click on that. It'll take you right to the beginning of the video, or you can scribble along right to that time code. But we'll give you a second to join in here, start talking in the chat, and we'll be with you in just a minute.
Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony CC. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
What's going on, guys? I hit that little button to switch over a little bit early there. But welcome to another RC Conspiracies podcast and live stream here on YouTube. We've got a special guest in the house with us today, Mike Eaton. And he's going to be talking with us about the SMT10, what kind of things we hope are in it, and when we think it'll be. I think it's this week, guys. It's got to be. Based on all of the previous releases from Horizon, they've had some kind of a teaser, and then we get an announcement. So looking good that we're going to be hearing about it this week before Christmas. So I'm super stoked about that. A bunch of you guys are in the chat already. Quick note I will say is that you guys are talking about it already. We're not going to have another Monday night RC Conspiracies. They're done as of this year. I'll probably do another one the day that the SMT10 is released, but it won't be kind of announced. It's not a typical Monday night 9:30. It will be one of the bonus ones that we do, and so be looking forward to that. We want to talk about it when we see all the specs. And so that's good. So a couple things I want to show you guys, and then we'll get to talking here right quick. Trying to find, I don't see the button for it. I want this one. All right, guys. So definitely, if you haven't yet, join the RC Conspiracies group. That's where we're posting things like the teaser image and things for all the upcoming conspiracies. And you can't get it for Christmas this year, but you could always get it as a New Year's thing. We've got the RC Conspiracies t-shirts and that kind of stuff. Links are in the description if you guys are interested in CCxRC apparel. We make that available for you. Now, let's talk about Mike Eaton. Mike Eaton is with Screw Loose Hardware, and that's what I use actually for all of my SMT10s. He has a really great SMT10 screw kit that I bought from him back at the Solid Showdown in Richmond the first time I went 2 years ago, and he's got other great parts. So we'll bring him in here, and we've got him on the phone with us. Mike, are you there?
Hey, I am here. Thanks, Tony, for letting me come in and join you and talk about the SMT10.
Awesome.
I am a huge fan of that platform, and I've been waiting eagerly with bated and bad breath, and I'm excited that they're finally showing some teasers for it.
Yeah, man. I was actually just talking with you just a minute ago about non-SMT10 related stuff, and that's where all of this came about for Clodbusters and stuff that I have in the works. But Yeah, so tell us a little bit about Screw Loose. What got you started there? What got you into RC? Give everybody a little bit of background info on you so that they know that you're worth listening to, because they're not buying it at this point.
Well, yeah. So I own and operate. I'm a single employee for Screw Loose Hardware. I've been in radio control stuff ever since I was in high school, which was back in the 90s, the early 90s. And my mom used to date a guy who owned a RC track. She didn't date him for a long time, so I didn't get like in, but I got to see his indoor track. And I remember walking down the aisle in the hobby shop there and seeing like the lunchbox and seeing the RC10, the RC10T sitting there on the shelves. It wasn't that long afterwards that when I turned 19, I actually had a job myself that I was able to go out and pick one up. And I bought an RC10T, and then I bought two RC10Ts, and then I bought the T3s. And I had a younger brother, 5 years younger than me, so everything we bought, we had to buy two of so that we could actually like race against each other in our backyard and stuff like that. So that's probably the earliest I got into RC trucks. It wasn't until I was in college and the T-Max came out that I got kind of reinvigorated into it. I couldn't keep those things tuned to save my life. Like I was constantly just buying another truck just to try to keep it going. But it wasn't until 2009 I had already had my first two children, and I wanted to get into the Clodbuster. And then I looked up on the forums, or I discovered Clod Talk, which was a Clodbuster forum, and started really getting into that, reading in how to modify it. Once I started doing that, then, you know, the guys would talk about races and going to races. So I joined them at a race, the NRCTPA, there in Montpelier, Ohio.
I was going to say, it's in Ohio, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I went there in 2009 and just saw the guys racing them and started to talk more with them. I started off with my Clodbuster just like anybody else. You know, I went in and tried to modify the plastic tub with links and shocks and speed control motor. And then I ended up getting some aftermarket chassis and wheels and tires, which back then was IMEX, like IMEX wheels. And then it kind of blew up from there. So from there, you know, so now I have all these Clodbuster parts and these kits and these RC vehicles, and every one of them had a different screw. I had Phillips screws and, you know, straight head screws. I had hex head hardware screws, and I could never, everything looked like a Frankenstein as far from a screw standpoint. So it was at that point that I was talking with, I saw a guy on RCC Crawler, Josh, he goes by Harley.
Yep, Harley Designs, right?
He was selling these bulk screws, and I was like, well, I could do that. And so I called him up just to make sure it was cool with him, because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And I said, hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this myself. Are you cool with it? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And then so I launched out our company to sell bulk screw kits for the RC builder, and that's kind of how the Screw Loose Hardware comes across. Really, I just needed extra money to like fund my RC projects. It's really the only reason why I started it up.
Right. And that's what I do YouTube for. There it is.
So that's how I kind of get into the screw business and how I kind of got into monster trucks. Monster trucks in the hobby and just, you know, in the RC hobby is really my passion. I just love them. I like big trucks. I love the bouncy part about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You always had the coolest trucks. That you had the Cyclops. I'm trying to find some of the stuff on your Screw Loose page here. Like you had the Cyclops with the little eyeball that would spin, and some really cool retros and stuff you do. And people can get, do you do some custom bodies too? If people are looking for custom bodies?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've been, you know, first of all, everything I do, I usually just kind of do for myself. But, you know, as you become friends with people, you know, hey, can you paint me this body? Or, you know, can you do this? And so things kind of branch out. I mean, I don't like painting for commission.
Right. Scary.
It's not. It's just incredibly stressful for me. Like, if it's a body that I painted and then I'm just like, oh, I want to sell it. Like, that's one thing. But
right.
If it's something where someone's like, hey, I want this specific design and it needs to look like this and it needs to be done by this date, that's the part I really have a hard time with and stress over, just because, you don't want anything leaving, at least I do, you don't want anything leaving that, someone can pick apart and be like, oh, well, you kind of sucked it on this and this doesn't look too good and stuff like that. So I beat myself way too up over it. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm kind of done painting for people. I think if I move forward with painting, what I would like to do is just paint bodies that I like and then just offer them up for sale, buy as is, just what I felt like, so.
Cool.
Anyways.
Well, that's a little bit of background info. Mike comes out to a bunch of the different races. Were you just at the one in near DC in Maryland? Did you make it down to that one or no?
No, I didn't go down. Yeah, you're talking about the J Concepts one.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to make it to that one. Really wanted to. With my full-time job, I'm a pastor, is my real job. So I'm not able to take full weekends off all the time. Only got a limited number. So yeah, that one didn't make the cut. Well, maybe next year.
So what group do you race with? And then we'll talk about the image that we've seen and what we kind of think might be coming from Axial. And Chris and some people are saying, "What's up, Mike?" in the chat. I see you guys. And Chris is talking about his 8 suspension setup. So very cool. But go ahead and let us know who you race with. Isn't there a group up with you that you race with?
Yep. Yeah. So I started when I did get into racing. I was over in Ohio, and so I would jump up and race with the Michigan Monsters crew, headed up by John Zick and Nick Zook and Russ Bryant and Mikey Messia and all those fast guys.
Super fast guys.
I started off out there. Yeah, super fast guys.
When Michigan comes to town, you can only hope to make it in the top 3, not the top spot.
Yeah. Dude, and that was a crazy journey, man. I mean, Joe Chuhuk and John are the ones that really started that off. And I remember we would drive all the way out to like Vermontville, Michigan, like just in the middle of nowhere with the school or in their backyard, you know what I mean, and start racing with them. I remember I almost burned the school down. One of my electronics caught on fire, and then the LiPo caught on fire, and we were up on the school stage with this big curtain, and the curtain almost caught on fire. It's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Very terrible. But yeah, the school didn't catch on fire, but I was very embarrassed. But anyway, so we started way back then, and we went through like 3 or 4 or 5 different locations with that. But, each year the club got really stronger and better at running an event. And then, of course, the guys just got super fast.
Yeah.
Russ, I can't remember when Russ came in. I remember when Mikey Messia came in, which Russ and Mike raced together, and they're both super, super fast. They push each other fast. But I remember one of the guys had given him like an RC, like a clodbuster, and like the tires had flat spots and the electronics were old and ancient. And I remember him driving that thing, and it just wasn't, it was a terrible truck. But then he really got into it, and he started buying his own equipment, and now he's got one of the largest ZRP fleets that is out there. And him and then Russ came in. Russ obviously has like a lot of experience racing, off-road racing with buggy and stadium trucks, and so he picked it up real quick. And then he's just like one of the fastest and one of the fast guys.
Yeah, he tears it up.
But he does. So yeah, I was out there, and in 2015, I moved up here to New York and started racing with the DeFalco brothers, Kyle and Dan DeFalco. They head up let me see if I can get the acronym right here. So it's RCMTC-New York.
Okay.
So Radio Control, it stands for Radio Control Monster Truck Challenge, the New York chapter.
So it just needs a few numbers after it, and you could sell it as a Chinese model numbered car on Banggood.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I race with them, and they've been doing the monster truck thing for a long time as well. They would probably consider themselves more purists in the sense that they don't like racing on carpet, even though they do occasionally, but they prefer setting it up outside in the dirt and setting up realistic tracks that you would see like back in the Penda series and things of that sort. So yeah, I've been racing with them since 2015. They actually, even though they're a New York chapter, we do most of our races out in Enfield, Connecticut over there at RC Madness. So we got a good relationship out there. And so, yeah, so they call themselves New Yorkers, but most of the guys are coming from Connecticut, Massachusetts, New England, and then, of course, some of us New York guys.
Is that where McKenzie races? Does Michael McKenzie race in that one? Someone's asking.
Yeah, Mike McKenzie and Pete and, who else am I thinking of? Derek Algieri is out there, Kevin Adair. Just a lot.
Okay, a lot of names I recognize from the Solid Axle Monster Mayhem group. Cool.
Yeah, a lot of contributors, man.
Josh Rhodes says that he met you in 2013 at the Monster Power at NRC TPA Worlds.
Yeah.
He said he won one of your screwless sets as a prize.
Yeah. Josh had been a long-time customer. When we first met each other, we hit it off and been friends ever since. He still buys parts. So, and now he works for Horizon Hobby. So he knows when I call up Horizon Hobby and be like, hey, this isn't working quite right. So.
I was thinking about calling him up to be on this, but I'm like, I don't know if there's like conflicts of interest, if we accidentally out something, just guessing or what. So I thought maybe not. Maybe that's not the
Josh
best.
Doesn't want to lose his job.
Right. So I was thinking about you though, Josh. I had you pulled up on Messenger, and our last message, what was that about? I just read it. I'm going to blank on it. All right, so SMT10, people are in the chat. Everyone's saying, they wish they would have. They bought something else because it hasn't been out. It's been a long time since it hasn't been out, like 9 months almost, I think. So in June.
Is that a long time?
Right? June is when it kind of was really it disappeared for the most part because we were talking about it with Horizon Hobby at the No Limit RC World Finals event at Digger's Dungeon, and they were talking about a new one coming and all of that. So I don't remember when it stopped, and some people started thinking it was discontinued, and there was a whole bunch of question marks about what was going to happen to the platform. And they kept saying,
because
go ahead.
Yeah, so Horizon Hobby, picked up Axial, so there was just transition there. I want to say like Axial had already put in their first big order with, the Monster, with the Gravedigger and with the Max D. And so the end of that cycle's coming, and then the whole change of hands with the company and stuff like that. I think it just kind of just put a pause on things.
Right.
I don't necessarily think it was a discontinued because we were actually starting to gain a lot of popularity in the aftermarket area.
Oh yeah.
Towards the SMT10. So I think just with all that transition, it was just like they just hit the pause button.
Right. And what they told us was, first of all, how long things take to move once you say yes. And so they had the Feld partnership and, the payment that they have to make or work out the licensing and all of that they have to work out. And so that was up for renewal and kind of working through all that with them to get the licensing rights to Gravedigger and whatever Feld things they might be licensing. I don't even know that. So, but it's, I think that then once they finally sign on it, then you can start rolling the production line again, right? And then it probably has to go through, if there's changes in it, it has to go through like a reintroduction through all of the channels that you have to go through to sell products in the USA to get their stamp of approval. So I'm guessing that, it's not that they've been wanting it to be off the shelves by any means. I think there's just, like you said, hoops that they have to jump through after they acquired Axial into the Horizon Hobby family. So
and then renegotiating contracts with the licensing fees and everything else like that. Which when they first released it, obviously like Gravedigger sells. The name Gravedigger sells, Max D sells.
Yep.
So if you want to be associated whatsoever, I think in the Monster Jam family, those are two go-to names that will help you push product out the door. So my big question up until this point is, okay, so are we going to see a re-release of Gravedigger and Max D, or are we going to see something new?
So that's the question. We're going to hit that to the chat with the people in there. You guys, what do you think is coming? I think they've got it. They worked with Feld to get the licensing, so there has to be something within the Monster Jam lineup that is coming our way. And so that's my question mark, is who. I want to know how long they have the licensing for. I have questions, but we'll pull up the picture too in a second and show everybody what Axial posted, the teaser, earlier today about 7:00-ish. I think they posted it. Maybe it was 6:00. And I saw it pop up. It's like, 2 minutes ago this was posted or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so we'll pull that up in a second. We'll let the chat go for a second. JP Slayer, are you able to see these, Mike? Like the chat stuff?
Oh, you know what? I was looking them on my, I'm trying to get it up.
Oh,
I got to get
okay.
my,
so here's what some people are saying.
Because I had them up on my screen and we had a conflict of interest with the sound. So.
Oh, okay. So some people are saying.
Hey, what is our kid's password? Oh, okay.
Say that out loud.
My kid's iPad.
Right.
Yeah.
What's everybody, Mike's password is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, no, I change it up. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Chris says he thinks Son of a Digger. Pete RC Basher says Monster Mutt. All Out RC, there's another Son of a Digger. That's 2 for that. Johnny Rocket's just telling us what he's got, which are 2 cool ones. He's got the ECX Brutus and the Stampede Gravedigger. Oh, yeah. I got the Stampede Gravedigger, and I just picked up the Stampede Son of a Digger and a Bigfoot, just for good measure. People are saying,
hey, look at that, a face for radio.
A what?
I said a face for radio.
A face for radio. Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So what are your thoughts, Tony? Like, what do you think? Like, what truck do you think it's going to be?
Well, I think that you got to go with Gravedigger, right? Because it sells. That's what made me buy a truck, was Gravedigger. I just happened to walk into our hobby shop, Debbie's RC World, because I saw the track outside and I thought it was a BMX track. Turned out to be a hobby shop. And so I got the Traxxas Stampede Gravedigger because of the body. I just wanted, I'm like, sweet, they got hobby grade Gravedigger. And so I bought it. Still, even I have the Gravedigger SMT10 as well. I have the Max D one too, because I do like Max D as well. But so I think you have to have the Gravedigger. But we know Greg is into monster trucks. Greg has seen what we do with these things. Axial has to see what people have been doing, and they kind of asked us what we wanted, right? Do you remember that post that got like hundreds of people telling them what to do with the SMT10? Or no, do you not remember that?
I do remember that. I definitely think Greg and the team there at Horizon Hobby definitely has their finger on the pulse of what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
And the trucks would see, I agree. I think it has to, I'm going to say Gravedigger family. I think it has to be something in Gravedigger family. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a Son of a Digger maybe.
I would want that. As you can see, I've got my body panel right here from Son of a Digger. It's going to go in the new studio. Yeah, listen, man, those two brothers, you take Adam and Ryan, and those guys are just racking up wins. Just this past weekend, Ryan won freestyle and Adam won both 2-wheel and racing. So yeah, they're racking them up.
Yeah. So I think, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a straight up Gravedigger, and it's a relaunch of something that they already have. But if the Son of a Digger gets up there, or if it ends up being a Son of a Digger, I totally wouldn't be surprised by that at all. And I think it's a good choice.
Yeah.
Son of a Digger, the blue is great. The question, so the green chassis, for us builders, who like
that's
to
where I was going to go
modify the truck,
with. Yep.
Yeah.
They have to have something black, right?
So, well, I mean, black is the most universal chassis color. So,
right.
If they're going to build, if they're going to release some kind of builder's kit, which I don't know if they're going to release that right away, but if they do some type of builder's kit, and we could talk about price point too, because I got some opinions on what the price point should be, but black chassis I think has to be readily available if for the longevity of the platform itself and not seeing it discontinue after a year or two. But if they go with blue, so if they do Son of a Digger or they do, Son of a Digger will probably be the main one. The blue chassis, I think it will be great because we'll have a lot of good options with that. You got the green chassis, of course, and then maybe a black chassis down the road. So, but I can't imagine them limiting themselves just to like a green or blue chassis.
What color chassis did the Legend have? The Gravedigger Legend.
Do
we know?
Question. Maybe black. There's other Monster Jam fans that are probably connected with your page that know everything about the chassis.
Oh yeah, there definitely are.
Who do I see? Chris?
Looks black
Chris
in
there?
here. Yeah, Chris is here. It looks black, man. Oh snap! Horizon Hobby, if you were listening, you could make us one of these right here. Make them in a smaller order bulk, probably because it's not out there running right now. But
all right, so
I think they've got to have black, right? So would it be kit? You think, or do you think they'll just do another body that? So a lot of people are saying they'd love a Brodozer. People are saying Megalodon would be sweet. Like some of them that are really hard to make would be awesome if they did a pop for them. Like Megalodon or.
I got a Megalodon body, man. I love it. The 3D printed one by a guy out in California, and I'm just trying to figure out how to mount it to the SMT chassis. So as soon as I get that worked out, man, I'll be
not break it. Well, so Bari had one when he came to Horizon RC Fest. Yep. But right now on the SAM page, that's the top is the fire of that, right? So that's the picture.
Done by Jimmy Lewis out in California.
Lewis. That's what I was going to get was the name. Yeah. So people can see how awesome that is. That thing is fire. Literally. That was unintentional.
So Brodozer, like Monster Jam is
it's not owned, right? Is that a Feld truck?
I don't think it's a Feld truck, but like they totally invested in Brodozer though. So there's a big partnership between Brodozer and between Monster Jam. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Brodozer release as well, because there could be two trucks come out.
Yeah.
You got your stable, great, Gravedigger presentation, and then you got your maybe the other one with the black chassis, which is what they did earlier. They came out the Gravedigger, and then they came out the Max D.
Well, honestly, I don't see that many people running the Max D. I think most of them took the body off and used the black chassis for other things. Right? Or do you guys have a lot of Max Ds?
When that Max D chassis came out, it was great. It had the spikes on it.
Yeah. And they're great. They're hard.
The 3D face on the side, which, it's really hard to replicate that, even with 3D printer people. I mean, I guess we can, try to pay someone to do that, but they came out with a mold and it was just perfect, man.
Yeah, man. I got two spares of it. Everyone that would sell them cheap locally, I bought them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're saying you were surprised?
And another truck. I was surprised we didn't see a lot more black edition Gravediggers as far as the body goes. So and I think it just came down to sticker set. So if we had access to like a sticker set where it was like, okay, let's paint the body black and then do, just the accent pieces. Because that black body that came out in what was it, 2017?
Right.
That one finals year that they had that, or the fire. I mean, and the fire thing, when I was talking with Monster Jam last year, I had the privilege of joining with Bari Nassar, and we work in the pit party for the Monster Jam World Finals. And so you get to kind of chum up and talk with a lot of these guys. I thought the Fire and Ice last year was kind of being released because of the Game of Thrones like theme. I was like, oh, Fire and Ice, Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, it was just 100% like it comes down to
it'll sell merchandise.
Sell merchandise.
Yep,
and
baby.
So in Hot Wheels kind of set the pace for Spin Master sets the pace. It's like, hey, if you want to sell more of a car, if you end up changing up the paint scheme a little bit, you'll get more and more like sales on that car. So
Yeah.
they just came up with the Fire and Ice theme, and boom, they're selling a bunch of Spin Master Monster Jam
Oh man,
trucks.
I got a whole box of them. The Spin Master ones, the Fire and Ice ones, and yeah, I mean Monster Energy would sell really well, but I don't think that's a failed license either. So you'd have to get secondary probably to run those bodies, and yeah. So again, guys that are just joining in, we do have Mike Eaton with us here from Screw Loose Hardware. Big into RC monster trucks, just as a reintro to people that are just joining us. So he's with us on the phone talking about RC monster trucks and the SMT10 and what we think. So question back to the chat, and we'll talk to Mike about this, but what things do you think they would change? Because they were asking us as well about changes, and one of the things we said was kit. We'd like to see a kit, and so fingers crossed still on that. But do you think they've done, people have said, gears like should be metal steel gears right away, straight off in the transmission, and things like that. Do you think they're going to be upgraded in that way, or do you think they basically just needed the new stamp and it's going to have like Spectrum in it instead of the Tactic?
Are you asking me, or
I'm asking the chat, but you as well. So I'll start reading some of the stuff we're seeing here. People are saying like Earthshaker license. There's some other people talking, like Blue Thunder.
I built an Earthshaker. A great looking Earthshaker.
You had an awesome looking Earthshaker down you took it down to the World Finals, right?
World
no, that was
RC Madness.
Okay, the RC Madness, yeah.
Yeah, so that was at the RCMTC New York.
World Finals one?
Yeah. So I released it out there. That body was designed by Hamansky Hobby. So Kevin also joins us for the World Finals pit party finals that we do there with the monster trucks and 10 scale and stuff. And so he was tasked with replicating that truck. So he's an incredibly gifted designer.
Yeah, he is.
So he made Shapeways models for them, and
did you buy it from Shapeways? Then you bought the parts.
I did.
That's the best plastics, man. I mean, if you're gonna do 3D print, it's expensive, but it's quality.
Yeah. Well, and so Kevin, to cut down on cost, he made windows and everything. So you got to go back through and fill it back in with styrene, which and I forget how thick of styrene I use, but so not only do you use the styrene to fill in the hole, but to make it a really solid bond, you got to put a big flat piece behind it as well. So it sturdied everything up. And I'm not the best of drivers, and so I barrel rolled my truck 3 or 4 times, and yeah, the only thing I lost was just the tailgate. I mean, it's still shining pretty and where it's supposed to be at. So I'm very impressed with the design. But yeah, Earthshaker's cool too, man.
So what do you think then? Parts. I'm pulling these up here.
Parts.
Some photos.
I mean, personally, the way I feel about what's actually going to happen versus what I wish, I really just think it's going to be a re-release, just because, it takes a lot of time for tooling and for design and for product testing. So to expect, I think, Horizon Hobby to take to take these Axial and to be able to completely redesign everything, retool, I think we just have unreasonable expectations of that. So I personally expect them to just release the same AR60 platform.
I agree.
Right onto the thing. So I'm not getting my hopes up that way. I mean, if they do anything, which I think there is a couple of small things they can do, but I think it's going to be same AR60s. I think it's going to be the same cage, and we may see just a couple of changes. I mean, the transmission, you really don't even need to change out to all metal gears. If you just change out the idle gear to metal, that center one, that does a lot.
I think they will because some of their recent crawlers even are coming with all steel transmission gears now. So I think that they will probably change that out. I don't think we'll see changes in the I mean, what I would like to see and what I think will happen, like I would like to see the spiral cut gears in the axles as well, but I don't think they're going to do
Oh, the
that.
helical gears? Really?
Yeah. I would
Wow.
like to, but I don't think they will. I do that in all of mine because I blow those things
Do ya?
out. Oh, yeah, I blow them out every time. 3S brushless,
Like,
I start clicking like
does that
crazy.
affect you going in reverse at all, or no?
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the HD ones, right? So that's what they call them, are their HD gears. That's what they're using in the big boy. They just, in the Raminator, they went to those helical cut ones as well.
Wow.
For both the forward and the reverse, but they do it a little different how they do the reverse. So the gears move in and out. But I don't think they will. I think they'll do transmission. But my biggest thing was, so I bought, when I first got into this, I haven't been doing it for very long. So I think 3 years ago, I went to a World Finals and I'd bought the Gravedigger. I waited because I thought the price originally at $400 was way too high. So when it came down to $350, I was like, okay. That's a little bit easier to swallow, but it's still a brushed car with all plastic, transmission, not a whole lot of metal. So you're paying for the name. You always got to pay for that. And then you're paying for the cage, right? Plastic cage, which is really awesome cage, I think. But I didn't run it. I literally took it out of the box, put in they told me what to buy, Joshua Williams at Debbie's RC World. I was still new, green, So I bought a Castle system, put that in, put on a HD, or a digital servo on the front with a big servo saver, and I just went out racing. And the big tires. Clicking out of that diff, the second race I went to. So I raced that weekend. By the end, it was clicking out of the rear. And so, and I didn't race that much because I was new. So I got knocked out pretty quick. And then I added sway bars and stuff like that once I realized what were needed. So hopefully, I'm hoping that they have front sway bars with it. Fingers crossed again, because it didn't come with them before. So you had to add front sway bars. Weird. Yeah, it's really weird. And so I always just went the easy way, and I bought the bomber ones, the soft. You could buy a kit of them with everything for. You didn't get all the different choices of medium, soft, hard, but it was easy to stick in, and it made a world of difference. So. But yeah, so 3S and it was clicking. So that's the one thing. And then I always put now the beef tubes in the axles just because I do break them because I can't drive very well either. And so I land sideways or crooked, and those axles on the long side where the trailing arms go through, there's not a lot of plastic because of those two big screws going through on that long. And that's where it always seems to tweak it. And so, so now I buy the beef tubes and put them in. Really easy fix. In fact, I've got a set of them I just ordered that came in this week because I plan on getting one of these new kits. By kits, I mean the SMT10s.
And so whoever thought of those beef tubes, I mean, obviously there's the company beef tubes, which is where I've traditionally bought mine, but now it seems like everybody's selling them. You can go to Hot Racing and get beef tubes, and whoever thought of that was just ingenious, I think, because that was such an easy fix to, something that was going to take a lot of time, I think, on, Axial side to address. But, when they released the SMT10, so they did do some minor changes that I thought were specifically for the SMT10. So they added like gussets that were to the steering knuckles. The steering rod itself wasn't just your typical race, steering tie rod, but it ended up being something that kind of looked like it had, fake shocks, absorbers in the front of it and everything else like that.
Yep.
But the C-hubs and the knuckles were beefed up specifically, I think, for the SMT10, which was nice. And I love, now, so whatever Axial AR60 based platforms that I build, I look to get those components that are from the SMT10 just because they are just a little bit strengthened. So, the weakest point in the drivetrain is, those spider gears that are inside the open diff. And you really do need an open diff if you're going to do competitive racing. Obviously, steering is the key there. And so having front and back open diff really is critical of that. So that would be an awesome issue if they can address that, making those bigger somehow. I think the rear straight axles have a tendency to break. So, if you run any wheel, so you run the Proline wide wheelbase brawler wheels, or you get the J Concept, you're going to run the medium or the longest widener that they have available or offset. You just get that leverage on the end of those straight axles, and those things bend and they snap right at that pinhole all the time. So, I mean, those are just known commons. You take the spider gears, and then you take the straight axles in the back. I mean, those are, and then of course the transmission gear, the plastic transmission gears. I mean, those to me, if I was invited into the Horizon Hobby brainstorming session,
think tank,
I'll be like, cons. Yeah, like these three right away. What can we do to strengthen this up? Just because it is kind of, you do spend $400 on a monster truck. You're gonna treat it like a monster truck. You want to do backflips. You want to do big jumps. You want to do things. And if those things break right away, it kind of is a, kind of a downer when you walk away. So.
Yeah, Josh Rhodes saying he would like to see the sway bar kits look a little bit more realistic as well. But he's saying the aftermarket is killing it there, so I'm sure the aftermarket people would not like to see that happen.
I was thinking about that. I mean, I sell an aftermarket 13-inch wheelbase kit for the SMT10.
Right.
But that's fine. Like, I think the more companies that get on board, like, it just benefits everybody better. So if they come out with a better looking sway bar kit, like, more power to them. You know what I mean? I can focus more on something else. So
that's true. And again, Mike has awesome screw kits, which I just have, they work so great for having that. I don't ever worry about losing screws, because in my toolbox, I have your little screwless kit. So anything I lose, I pretty much just reach in there, can pull out something to work with it. I've bought little extra nuts to go in there that go on. So I'm good to go. And, but yeah, those have been great. And it was Joshua Sanford that turned me on to him. He walked me right over to you, said, get this guy a screw kit. Basically, so I'd stop asking him for screws, I think, because I'm like, do you have any of these really short? I'm going through the comments here, trying to see what people are saying. Somebody said Mohawk Warrior would be cool. So you were saying pricing. You would like to see something. I'm going to pull the picture back up. I'm trying to figure out, too, the picture is of dirt, and we see a shadow. And again, people are joking tractor. They're talking about the width of the tire not looking as wide. I think it's deceptive, but I can't tell if the tread pattern's the same. And I went looking, and I've given away all of my stock 2.2 tires, BKTs, and all I have are the munition tires. I was trying to find out if it looked like the pattern of these on there, because this is a Duratrax tire, and so I was wondering if they were going to do a little bit bigger stock tire on them. And I don't think that it is. I don't think the pattern looks quite the same to me, because these have more of a rounded curve to them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the tread pattern, I mean, my first impression was those are the 2.2 tires that they had.
Yeah.
On the original kit.
Yep, that's what I think too.
Which, I mean, and it's smart. You know what I mean? Like, the 2.2 tires are just, they're not going to break the kit. So you have so you start the kit off with a slower speed control, which, I mean, the first upgrade or the first mod that you could do to an SMT10 right out of the box is switch it over to handle 3S. You know what I mean? So you had to replace the pinion gear, I think, and then you just drop in the 3S LiPo, which is an instant power gain with minimal effort, I think, right there to begin with. But, thinking from their side of things, obviously they had to keep it somewhat tame so that it doesn't break right away. So you do that with slower speeds and with smaller rotating mass. So
yeah. Well, the thing I never got to was, so I said the price was too high for me when it first came out, even though I love monster trucks and I really wanted one. Came down and I was like, all right, now I'm game. I think I got my Max D. The reason I bought it was it hit below 300 at some sale Tower Hobbies was doing. It was like 275 or 299 or something. It was crazy low. And so that's why I bought that one. And then I immediately shipped it away to have somebody make a custom chassis for me based off of it. And then I wasn't even going to use it. I was just going to use the parts off it. Well, then I ended up, I don't know. I think I bought another one or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe that's how I got another Max D body for that other truck.
I think the three, I own three of them, and I want to say I had a fourth one, but I sold it brand new in the box. I think the ones that I bought, I think my first one was $400. I bought one right out the gate.
All right.
Yeah, and then the next three that I bought at the $300 price point, or $329. It was between $299 and $329.
Okay.
I know I got a couple at $299, and then I ended up buying one at $330, and that was all shipped. You know what I mean? So I think that was a better price point. You know what I mean? I think once they drop those prices to the under $350, $330, $299, I think that's when they may have saw a pickup in sales, because that's a great price point. And if they do go into a builder's kit, so you know, if there's a big market of people that are saying, okay, I'm going to put my own body on there, and I'm going to put my own wheels and tires on there, and I'm going to replace the speed control and motor.
Yep.
So now you got, and if they can do it without the licensing, and I don't know how that goes. I don't know if it's like we can own, does it have to be a Monster Jam truck, or can they release a non-Monster Jam builder's kit, doesn't include the body, doesn't include the wheels and tires, and because of that, they don't have the licensing fee. So now you got a builder's kit for $220, $250.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I thought you were going a whole different direction. I'm like, yes, bring us an Avenger body, please. Like if it could be any other, like somebody do an Avenger. That's what I want. But yeah, so going back to the price, but I was going to do a video of it, like straight out of the box, what it looked like on LiPo, and I could barely get it to jump off of a ramp, like the little plastic ramps. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this video because I didn't think.
So on a 2S, so
3S.
So you didn't put the
I put a 3S straight in, man. Like I didn't care about the ESC. I just stuck a 3S in there, and it barely did anything. Maybe I didn't change the pinion out. Maybe does it come with the 14 in it instead of the 16?
It did. Yeah. When it first came out, you just had to swap out to the other pinion. I couldn't even tell you what it was.
It was a 16 and a 14,
a
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think I did that.
Mine was also set up. The drag brake was like ridiculously set up hard. So like it was like doing every time you like let off of the brake. So I know I had to switch out that little tab as well.
So yeah, I think so. Maybe it was my fault. I didn't do the 16 tooth. I still think a 27 turn is
right.
All of it's going to be different.
Well, the electronics.
It's got to be right.
Is it going to be?
They've changed. Even Axial changed.
Yeah.
So it's Dynamite,
so it's
right?
It's got to be Dynamite
or Spectrum.
Yeah, it's got to be Dynamite or repackaged, Axial, I guess. But
yeah,
you think they got to change out the motor in the ESC?
So I'm thinking, because motors don't change in price based on the turn very much. I'm thinking they should drop it to a 20 turn or less, something that's going to pep it up a little bit. Because most people get it and want to wheelie with it and do things like my Stampede could do out of the box. It's a smaller, lighter truck and, independent suspension, not comparing them in any way other than, like, I got that and I was like, yes. And I was jumping, like, I made my kids lay down under the ramp. So straight newbie, right? First RC, my neighbor brings me a ramp because he sees me jumping like this little root hill base thing at the bottom of our tree. We've got a massive tree. So he finds it on the side of the road and brings it to me. I still have that ramp, actually, by the way. It's screwed down to my bigger Landwave ramps to make it a huge kicker. But so those two, I had my kids lay down under it and, I'd jump them. Like, so that was cool to me straight away with that, is that I could do that. Like, I would have landed on them with the SMT10 when I got out of the box on LiPo, but I was running the NIM pack with the, the NIM pack straight away with that Stampede. And I was like, yeah, wheelies down the driveway. And it just was like, it was this fun experience that I didn't expect to have that was amazing. And I don't think I would have had that same punch out of the box with the SMT10 had I not gone and upgraded them straight away. And at that point, I had batteries and all the stuff to, to do better with it anyway. And I still felt like, But
I guess I come at it a different perspective. I do a lot of youth activities, my kids are all into RC, and that's I mean, I have a huge fleet of RC trucks and vehicles and cars, and that's because I got 3 kids.
Yep.
Whose dad is into RC, so and then I run like these events, like Touch a Truck, a community Touch a Truck event, or a Harvest Festival jamboree, and I'll set these trucks up, allow people, the community, to buy them, and so I am a little bit more reserved. I mean, I like the fact that they go just a little bit slower, just to preserve the parts. I mean, every single 4S vehicle I have ever owned, and I'm talking like the Kyosho Mad Force, anything I've ever put a 4S or a 3S, I have destroyed by running into trees. And it's weird. I got a huge parking lot in my backyard. I got all the open space I could possibly want, but for some reason we always hit the trees that are on the very edges of everything, and we run into them. And so I break parts, when I'm using 4S and 3S. But when I'm using like a 2S, it's a little bit more tamer, and you got, you work control and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But I mean, so check out, so if you go and you check out Ryan and Adam Anderson's Facebook page,
yep.
So they build replica monster truck or Monster Jam ramps. They get them all painted up. They set them up in their backyard and their tabletops and their backflip ramps, and they're awesome, man. Which is just, I mean, I want to do that. I look at theirs and I'm like, I can build those ramps. You know what I mean? And so, so now you're spending time building ramps with kids. And
well, they've got the forward ramp too that has that flipping board. That you,
does it?
Yeah, so you hit it and it allows you to do forward momentum backflips off it. It's super cool. So they come to the Monster Jam races at the Digger's Dungeon, and the first year I went, they had a whole course set up with that stuff out there, and we got to just bash on it and play with it. And I think that's actually how I walked away with the clicking diff on the Gravedigger. Was playing over there with the backflip ramps, because anytime you start going crazy is when you break stuff. So what price do you think? You said $250. So you're saying you clicked it on a backflip? Is that what I heard?
The Sin. Yeah. So when I was testing out the Sin truck, the diff was solid until I started doing like backflips off of trees. Then it clicked. Started clicking away. Yeah. I mean, so if Axial does a builder's kit, it would be great if it's like $250. You know what I mean? Range. I think if they're gonna re-release it, I agree. I think the $400 price point is a little high. And I think they're going to sell more stuff if they get that thing down to $359 or $329. I think they're going to really move those units. With the full, ready to run. But I don't know. I mean, is that even a realistic expectation? I mean, look at any other vehicle. Like, how much is the Capra right now?
Well, the kit was $329, but it's a pretty impressive kit. Metal links, lots of metal gears in the axles and all that. So, it's got the dig transmission on it. So I think the ready to run was $450 on it. So I don't think they're going to end up going up to there. But that's the Dynamite ESC I wonder if it will have in this truck. Because I got the ready to run one. I sold my kit one of the Capra because I didn't have time to build it. But
so more than likely 400. I mean, at the very least, they're probably going to stay at the 400 price points. Then
I don't think they can go up from where they were at 329. Unless they put a brushless system in it, because you're getting stuff now from Arma and them that are like a 4S vehicle for $400 brushless. Yeah. So that's tough. Like, most people walk in the store and be like, well, I'm going to do that one. It's, says it goes 70 miles an hour out of the box or whatever they go, 50 something. So yeah, I don't know. I think 350 is like a good spot for it. I even if it went up to 350, if they made a few changes like metal gears and a faster motor. I mean, don't feel like you need to pay for the faster motor because it's like $17 or $19 for the difference. But still, it's not that expensive if somebody wants to stick in a a brush motor and keep it brushed.
Yeah,
But,
and I think that's the hidden advantage of being partnered with someone like Horizon Hobby, and because of how many other companies they're with like Spectrum Radio and all these Dynamite series and stuff like that. I mean, we're really going to reap the benefit from that partnership with, I think, upgraded radio system and motor out of the box, and then just the fact that I think with when it comes, so the next, let's say there's another monster truck that comes out down the road. So let's say this is just one to whet the appetite and to keep us happy and to keep the market full, because I think we're gaining momentum. So if they release a monster truck down the road, I think they'll have more time to be able to do some more research and to maybe design, change some designs and stuff like that. I think if you look back to Axial, I think it was a gamble. I think, John Schultz was working for Axial. He's a big monster truck guy.
Yep.
And I think he was pitching the whole monster truck thing to them. And they were like, all right, it's an iffy, or, it's a hard sell, but okay, we're going to do it. And so they really had to try to incorporate, I think, a lot of existing components into the monster truck build. So the cage is all new, of course, but then they used the AR-60 axles, and then the electronics, the 27-turn motor, was a staple in the fleet of Axial vehicles. So I think that's why they went with that one.
Yep.
Same thing with their speed control, what I mean? So you can kind of see the process that's going on behind it. And, I think with Horizon Hobby, I think maybe down the road with a future monster truck release, it could very much be everything we want it to be and then some. So.
Yeah, well, and there's so many mods out for it now too that it's such a great platform. Though the AR-60 axles are seeming harder and harder to come by. I don't know if that's because the Wraith isn't a big seller anymore or what, but I have noticed when I needed them for other builds and I just needed the axles, they were a little bit harder to get my hands on.
Oh, really?
On eBay and that. Well, eBay, like
that.
fully assembled, whatever. You'd buy them on eBay or whatever.
The chop shops, the hobby
chop shops. Yeah, they were not buying the race up as much and parting it out on eBay. But yeah, well, cool. I don't know. I'm hoping it stays in the same price point. I'm hoping it's a little faster out of the box.
A little faster, a little cheaper.
Yep. I mean, even with the low C, man. So the Mini T was $130, and it came with metal gears in it so that you could upgrade it to brushless without having to change the gears in the transmission of it.
Dude, I was thinking about getting one of those, man. How do you like that?
It's awesome. I just went to the Hobby Wing 5800 kV motor, 5200. It's a little blue one, and put it in. Had to go get a Spectrum. Speaking of Spectrum, guys, what controller do you think is going to come with? That's one of the changes people will have a lot of comments about, I think, when it does come out. So that's been, with all the ARMA stuff and it switching from Tactic, because so many of the other companies were running that Tactic receiver before and transmitter. I'm curious what controller is going to get. We kind of spied a few of them in the feed of the Andersons. They did a Christmas party, and they had because they're so into monster trucks and RC, they had a whole little setup going with ramps and a bunch of SMT10 Gravediggers, but they had Spectrum controllers on the table. So I think we're going to get probably that STX2, unless it made it out in time for the STX3 or whatever to come in, that new one that they've announced with the foam grip.
I mean, I just picked up one of those SMT24s. Is that right?
Yep.
The new 24 scale.
SCX.
The radio for that.
SCX24.
Is,
An SMT24 would be awesome, though. They need that little raminator thing from Losi to come back.
Yeah. Well, okay, and so that's another potential body. I mean, they're right next door to those guys out there.
Yep.
The raminator and ramunition guys. So that could be a possibility. But I mean, so I got the radio from that. I like it. I mean, it's pretty stout and does what it needs to do for the 24 scale thing. But my other favorite vehicle from Axial right now is that Maverick, the Yeti Junior.
Yeah.
Can-Am Maverick. I absolutely love that.
Do you?
Love it, love it, love it. Oh,
really?
Dude, all the time, dude. We beat that thing so hard.
Really? I've been curious about it.
Haven't changed out the electronics or anything,
It's
man.
brushed?
And everyone was kind of down on it. Brushed motor, yep.
Huh.
Nickel metal hydride batteries, and the thing flies. It's too fast for me.
Really? I've seen people putting brushless in it, and they can't even control it because it's so small and it rolls over all the time. So Bill Perry's in. Again, guys, we have Mike Eaton on with us right now with Screw Loose Hardware. We're going to get ready to get off the phone here in just a minute. He's on the phone with us. Saw the announcement about the SMT10 picture teaser with the little shadow and the chevron tire pattern in the dirt, teasing up a new truck.
So let me share with you what we're going to do at my races.
Right.
For the monster truck races this year. So I'm going to buy. Okay, I already own one of those Axial Mavericks.
Yep.
And I'm going to buy 5 more of those suckers. And when someone comes to our race, you can sign up to be a part of because I think those are a perfect scale to our 10th scale monster trucks. So these really are
to do the stadium racing.
Just like the just by the side-by-side racing, so we're going to, we'll get 6 of these trucks, and we may, I'm not going to say it too loud, but we may make them look like Monster Jam, versions, and then have people sign up, and in between races, we'll do a quick 2 or 3 minute heat where people get to race side by side, and I was like, man, I really want people to buy into this, but it's a lot to ask someone to spend $150, come to my race and race these there for one time. So I was like, all right, well, I'll buy them.
Yeah.
And then people can just sign up and use them. And then more than likely, they're going to go home and they're going to be like, oh, well, I want to buy one of these now. You know what I mean? Because they're so much fun. Yeah. And I think if you do a 2-3 minute heat, you do a couple laps around, you get 5 guys or 6 people who are racing these side by side, and they're laughing, they're poking each other, because no one's going to be an expert in these side by side trucks. You're either going to do good or you're not going to do good, and anyone's going to be able to win. And then what we're going to do is probably do 2 or 3 heats, and then the last heat we'll do maybe like the first and second place person out of each one of the previous heats, do a big final heat, and then give them some kind of cash prize.
I love it, man.
At the end there.
I love it.
Yeah.
We should talk to I'm throwing myself in with you here. You should talk to Greg in Horizon Hobby and see, because I think they're going to be coming to the No Limit World Finals again. That would be a perfect, fun little thing for them to set aside as just like, try me, have fun, but keep it scaled to the monster truck thing, and just have a little track set up where they could do just little intermission races like that.
We may have already been talking about that, and that would be a Screw Loose Hardware sponsored event.
Okay.
The Screw Loose Hardware side by side race.
I love it.
And we may bring our tote of 6 Can-Am Mavericks down there and let people go side by side racing.
Yeah, maybe they'd supply you with parts or something so you could fix them or something. Anyway, I'm just saying, give them a call. Maybe. I would say, let them know that you'll be doing it. But it's super fun. I've been wanting to get one of the J Concepts bodies for my Slash that would make it look like this, because I love that they've done that with the short course side of things, at least to make it look, because we always have the short course class, but I think it's cool when they do they put these bodies on them and at least make it look more like it's not scale compared to the monster trucks, but it at least has a little bit more look than the short course bodies do. And we do stipulations like your retro has to be a certain year to do it. It's just one of those things like, well, if you're gonna do short course now, you got to buy one of these bodies and paint it up.
And not only that, you get like short course racers out there too. So you get these guys that they're taking home short course trophies on the weekend anyways.
Yeah.
And so they're racing these side by sides and dusting all of us monster truck guys. Saying us monster truck guys aren't good racers, but typically we're not great racers all across the platform.
You heard it here.
Jason Rona.
Yeah, Jason will tear you up, right? You heard it here. Monster truck
Kevin
racers aren't good drivers.
Yeah. Hey, well, we're good for the side by side stuff. So the 15 seconds of fame, we're all about it. Take 1 turn, 2 turns at the most, jump something.
Right on.
It's good. But you start doing laps and something, and some of these other guys start stepping in. I think these Yeti Juniors kind of even the playing field, man. It's just fun. They're squirrely. They're way overpowered, and we're going to make them look like monster truck companions, and they look a little bit more scale sitting by that big truck. And I just think it's untapped. I don't think anyone's really looked at that. And I think once we start doing that, and once you start seeing videos with these little side-by-sides sitting next to these monster trucks, I think it's going to take off, and we're going to see a lot more people owning these Can-Ams.
Well, and the thing that I like that you're doing with it, though, is you're supplying them, and so they're all pretty much stock, right? Or whatever upgrade you do to them, and that'll keep it. Like, that was one of the most fun things for me. So my name got pulled at the last No Limit, and I got to race in that Sen Racing Challenge with the trucks, and it was just so much fun to have that like 2 minutes of going around and just hitting the jumps in the circle. Like, it was a blast, or the 5 laps or whatever it was. I had so much fun doing that. But I had an advantage because I had one of them to play with. So at the very last final, I took the only orange one out there, just because I didn't think it would be fair for me to be running the HL 150 out there. But anyway, so SMT10, we don't know any details. We just are saying some of the stuff we like about it, what we would love to see come from the new release of it. If there is any changes to it, what we would hope they would be. I think we'll see some. I just because I know that Horizon's really been listening the past couple years to what people are saying, and so that's been good to see from them. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Mike, thank you for taking time to come in here on the last scheduled RC Conspiracy of the year. And, scheduled. We'll have one more, I think, when it actually releases, but it's just going to be whenever it happens. We'll do one that evening. But this is the last one. We're going to move to Tuesday nights, guys. Mike, thank you again for your time. Guys, go check out Screw Loose Hardware, Facebook, their actual website. You can order up some of the best screw kits on the market. Josh Rhodes says so. It's all he'll use. It's the only screw kit I use, and they're great screws. And I'm actually probably next time I see you going to have to order up another set of them. I'm getting low on a few of them, maybe I'll just order off some of them that I'm low on. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Mike, we'll chat later, and thank you so much for taking time tonight to be with us.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great night.
All right, we'll see you guys.